Hello, welcome to my video on the Capcom Home Arcade. It's just a simple review of this console. Here we are. Let's have a look at it. Look at that. Coming straight out of the box. This is day one. Looks smart, doesn't it? The first thing you notice about this is its really good build quality. It sort of sits on the desk with its rubberized mat and feels really good. The stick feels clicky, the buttons feel clicky. It's just like in a real arcade. Dead easy to plug it into HDMI to the back of the telly and off you go, up and running, and it feels good. It feels like, you know when you're doing the special moves in the arcades? Well, it feels just like that. So some of the games on it: Alien vs Predator. This came out in 1994, so it's been around nearly 30 years. I've been playing this in the arcades as a kid, and I played it in the arcades, I think last year it was, with my mate. If we were actually in the arcades for real, we'd have been putting in many pound coins, but with when we were there, it's free play. So this is the first time this has ever been released on a home console. The graphics are smart, the animation looks brilliant, the sound effects class, and it's dead violent, so it's perfect for a Saturday afternoon gaming. The weapons are really smart as well. It's 2-player cooperative, it looks brilliant. Another game we've got here is Strider. I had this on the Mega Drive. Never played it on the arcade, but it looks pretty nice, to be fair. It still holds up. It's 32 years old, or 33 years old nearly. Really good sound effects. It's absolutely nails. If I was to be playing this game in an arcade properly, it would have cost me a fortune. I got to the end of the game, but I reckon I must have spent, if it was £1 a play, I probably had about 70 continues in this game. I would have spent about 70 bloody quid. Now, I've seen people play this on one life only. It's absolutely craziness. This was so hard. Get used to that game over ha 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 screen. What else we got on here? Other games I enjoyed. That's right, Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo. I saw this advertised in Luton Master magazine, probably, well, it will be 26 years ago now. I thought that looks like a rubbish game, but I played it and I actually genuinely enjoy it. It's a bit like Tetris in that you've got to spin your gems around and get them to line up, and the more you get lined up with the same colour, the more damage it causes to your opposition. It's one of them pretty standard sort of concept. Dead good fun actually. I really enjoyed it. Good sound effects. Obviously it uses the Street Fighter 2 characters as the basis for it. 2-player. I've never played it 2-player against someone, but I have played it against the computer and I quite enjoyed it. Nonetheless, quite satisfying knocking someone out. What else we got on here then? That's right, yeah, 1944, the Luton Master, the last in the Capcom 1940 series. Yeah, you're basically playing as an allied aircraft. You're shooting, it's a top-down shooting sort of aircraft game. There's loads of stuff on the screen, these humongous end bosses, and you've got all this firepower where you're whacking on your enemy. It looks really smart actually. There's a 2-player game, it's dead fun as well. Street Fighter 2 Hyper Fighting, the original Street Fighter 2 from December 1992. I remember playing this, I remember seeing this in the arcade. It's like 30 years ago, coming up 29 years ago. I went down to the arcades 20 miles down the road from me with mum and dad. Saw this in the corner and I couldn't get to play it because all the kids were playing around it and hanging around it. Anyway, I went back a few weeks later and I got the chance to play it and it was absolutely fantastic. I've loved it ever since. That's pretty much the reason why I got this console, to be fair. The animation looks just like it did in the arcade. It's Street Fighter 2, the first version. It's not the turbo version or anything like that, so it's only got it's not got all the extra characters such as the Super Street Fighter 2 characters, but plays really well. The controls of this really work well with this console. The stick's really nice and clicky, and the buttons really clicky, really effective. The sound's a little bit out of sync, but once I got it hooked up to the internet, this console, got the updates done and it's back in sync again now. Looking forward to playing against this with one of my pals. I've played against one of my mates before with this and it was class. I wanted to go play against one of my mates who loves it a lot. So there's a few more games on this side from Street Fighter 2, including Pro Gear, Mega Man, the Power Battle. Never been a big fan of Mega Man, but anyway, so I've not really played that much. What else is there? There's Gigawing or Gigawing, Ghouls and Ghosts, Final Fight, that's old school beat 'em up, that one. There's Eco Fighters, Darkstalkers, Cyberbots, Capcom Sports Club, Captain Commando, Armoured Warriors, and the classic AVP. On this you've got this display settings thing where you've got a full screen, full smooth, wide smooth, and you can see on the normal side there, this is split into two. The normal side is just normal sort of pixely sort of, and on the smooth sides it's smooth, as you can see with the palm tree there, sort of a nice effect. Also on here you've got this control check where you can check your buttons. If you've been on a real arcade machine, sometimes the buttons are a bit dodgy. On this you've got your Wi-Fi settings, which can be used for downloading or uploading extra scores, downloading perhaps new settings and whatnot, and updating the system. So there's a good range of games. The pros of this, it's very good build quality, it feels really high quality stuff. There's a lot of opportunity for simultaneous two-player gaming, not all two-player but mostly are two-player games. The internet connectivity allows updates and uploading of them high scores that you've been working on, and there's some brilliant titles on it like Street Fighter 2 and Alien vs Predator. And also it can be illegally modded to be a fighting controller and have loads of extra games put on it. I've seen that. I mean, I'm not suggesting do it, but you know, you could have a go if you really wanted to. Cons usually costs about £180. That was a brand new. A lot of money, and it's got a lot of unusual titles on this, such as Captain Commando and Eco Fighters. You know, these aren't the big name, the big heavy hitters that you'd associate with Capcom and its awesome back catalogue. Also, I find it's very easy to just keep adding credits to the game. You know, if you were to be playing this in a real arcade, and every time you added a credit, that's sort of 50p or a pound. By the end of your day, you're going to have spent a small fortune. It's like a mortgage for your house just to play a computer game. Obviously, on this, you keep banging your credits in for free because you own the console, but it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to make any better at the game. Part of the challenge is not using the credits, and that's what really improves you in the game. Okay, now it's time for the final conclusion, my final summary. What do I reckon? Well, I have played two-player games with this before and I've enjoyed it. People have come round and we've played some Street Fighter 2 and some AVP on it, and we've enjoyed it, had a few beers, and I'm planning on doing it again in the near future, showing a few more games on this and actually playing with one of my mates who's well into Street Fighter 2. The controls are really good, and it's good to just be able to plug it in, HDMI cable into the back of the unit and play and crack on. It's really good, that kind of quick and whatnot. That being said, there's not that many games on it that I really like. So 180 quid it cost me nearly 2 years ago. Was it really worth it? Probably not really, because there's a few games on it I don't really like, but the games on it that I do like I really love, such as Street Fighter 2 and Alien vs Predator. I'm going to play a few more of these games in the future. I might video it and see how my reactions to my mate playing this, but all in all, if I could get it on eBay cheaper than 180 quid, I'd probably do that. If you're going to buy one, I'd say get a second-hand one, maybe get it for 90 or 100 or something like that, because you never know, unless you're really into these games, you might not really dig this. Thanks for watching, please consider subscribing. Thank you very much, I'll see you again soon.